Welcome back to the Talk of Fame podcast. I'm Kylie Montini. Today we're welcoming Olivia Frances to the show. When Olivia walks on a stage, her infectious energy and powerful stage presence captures the room. Combining ethical vocals with an earthly acoustic style, she calls her music nature folk pop, as her songs draw on inspiration from the beauty of the world around us. Frances grows in a similar sphere to stars such as Joni Mitchell, Kacey Musgraves, and Florence and the Machine. The Cincinnati native has organized dozens of tours throughout the U.S. from performing at Cheyenne Frontier Days, world's largest rodeo, to gracing the stage at Nashville's iconic Bluebird Café. She continues to pave her own path. Musical from a young age, she started playing piano at age 6 and composed her first song on guitar at age 12. She spent her gap year between high school and college in Music City to hone her craft and further develop her musical style. Frances credits Maggie Rogers, Fleetwood Mac, and Bon Iver as musical inspirations. With her song "Cumulatively" reaching over 1 million streams on all platforms, this Nashville-based artist, Frances, continues to grow her loyal fan base around the world. Her critically acclaimed single "Breathing Room" was up for a Grammy consideration for Song of the Year and Record of the Year in 2023. In addition, Breathing Room was won gold in the folk singer-songwriter category at the W.A.M Awards. TunedUp founder Ryan Getz included Breathing Room in the covered top songs of 2023 list, highlighting the influence this songbird has on listeners. She has written and co-written over 300 songs with hit writers such as Billy Lee, Kevin So, and country singer Matt Stell. Highly sought after as a collaborator, up-and-coming artists such as Penny Eau and Haley Rosenthal released songs co-written with Frances last year. 2023 proved to be another momentous year. Frances signed her first single-song contract with a major publishing company in Nashville, which had the honor of being invited to perform at the United States Air Force Academy, and played her second show at the Cheyenne Arts Celebration in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Passionate about community involvement, she was asked by the Kennedy Center to be a FSA International Young Musicians Award Program winner. Welcome to the show, Olivia. I'm so excited to chat with you today.
Oh, hey Kylie, thank you so much for having me. And thanks for reading my bio. My goodness, what an intro.
Right? And so your stage presence is said to be infectious. Like, how do you mentally prepare and emotionally prepare before onto the stage before each show?
That's such a great question. I would say I actually do have somewhat of a routine before I go on stage. I really love to meditate, which is something that I like to do every day, but especially on a show day. I really like to move my body, whether that's like taking a walk or doing yoga or some cardio. And I really also find it's important for me to warm up my voice before a show, so that way the vocal cords are ready to go.
I love it. Like I know with a lot of people, they love to meditate. Even if they're not a performer,
Hmm.
like they love to meditate. It's so impactful for me. I can't handle meditation for some reason, but I know a lot of people could. But how long have you
That's
been
okay. It's not
doing
for
like
everyone.
meditation and stuff like that?
Sure. So I started meditating thanks to my dear friend Emmy back in 2016, I think it was. I was having some stomach issues, and later in 2020 learned that I have Crohn's disease. But at the time, I just was kind of struggling, and yeah, I was just going through some hard health times. And my friend Emmy suggested I try meditation, and it really helped calm my nervous system and helped center me and helped keep me grounded. So I love meditating. I turn to meditation almost daily to, again, like help me just sort of center myself and ground myself.
Because I know with a lot of people, meditations are go-to, and especially with your experience. I would do the same exact thing. It definitely is calming when you go through something issues or there's something you're going through mentally, and physically. Like
Mm.
meditation is really the key for that. Even if it's not something you would probably do every single day, it's something that will help you in your nervous system with something for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
So you've been inspired by incredible artists like Joni Mitchell and Florence and the Machine. Like, what specific elements do you draw from their music to create your own unique sound?
Yes. Well, I love Joni Mitchell's guitar playing, her vocals, and her songwriting. Oh my gosh, I'm so inspired by her. And then Florence and the Machine, like her stage presence and just like her whole kind of artistic vision and her brand is really amazing to me. Like she's always kind of wearing these flowy dresses and on stage she's very like emotive and she's dancing across the stage. And so I really like look up to all of the incredible like folk pop women who came before me, like those two.
Because I know with Joni Mitchell, with how big she is, like she is honestly
Mm,
definitely someone to look up to. I know with Joni Mitchell, she's been around for a couple of years, so she's definitely has made a wider audience than some people. But with Joni Mitchell, she
mm,
definitely has someone that has been inspiring other people than probably most artists in the last couple of years. With all of her music and style and the way she plays, she's definitely reaching more of a wider audience, inspiring other people like yourself every year.
yes. Oh, I'm glad to hear that you're a fan of her as well.
I know, like I honestly didn't discover her music until like I don't know, like until like the last year. I really did I knew the name of her, but never
Mhm.
like listened to like her stuff per se.
Okay.
But like
Hmm.
it's great to see that you are a fan of her. Like, do you have a favorite song by her though?
Ooh, good question. Oh my gosh, there's so many good ones. Of course, like her really famous one is Big Yellow Taxi. That song is
That's
one that I
literally what
sang
my
a
answer is
long
gonna
time
be.
ago.
That's
Yeah.
literally
Yeah,
what
I
I
sing
was
that
gonna
song in
say.
choir. Oh my gosh, we have the same answer. I love that. Yeah, Both Sides Now is another great song. I sang that with my vocal teacher when I was in high school, and gosh, she has so many amazing songs. And songs like I feel like she has so many albums. Like I definitely want to just keep listening to her music and like explore more of her songs. But yeah, she's incredible.
I know, right? And I was also going to say California. Like that song is really good as well, but I feel like she has so many albums
Yes.
that I haven't even listened to probably one of them yet.
Oh my gosh. Well, it's always fun to like put time aside on your next, road trip and be like, oh, you know what? I know who I'm gonna listen to. I'm gonna listen to some Joni Mitchell. It seems like we'll both be
Right?
doing that.
You might as well,
Yes.
there's always some music to catch up to.
Yes, definitely.
But you have been were living in Nashville for the last couple of years. So what is it like performing both in Nashville and your home city of Cincinnati, along with collaborating with other artists as well?
Sure. Well, I love performing. I love connecting with the audience. And, at first it's like you're all total strangers. And then sometimes I'll share a story or like do a sing along. And it always reminds me how we're so much more similar than we are different. And sometimes people will come up to me after a show and say, like, hey, that song you sang about like this or that, like really related to my story and like something that I've experienced. And that always just makes me feel so much more closer to people, and there's such a beauty in that. Um, and then performing in Cincinnati is fun because, I love to see my family, and it just like reminds me of where I've come from and my roots. And I don't go home too often anymore, um, but yeah, I love performing, and then of course in Nashville. Um, it's great to perform at these writers' rounds here in town, which essentially is when there's three or four songwriters on stage, and then each songwriter sings one song, and that kind of goes back around to the first writer who started singing, and then like they sing another one. And I've done a lot of writers' rounds over the years, and those can be an absolute blast, especially when like you're jamming on each other's songs and if you're in a round with your friends, like you know their songs and you're harmonizing, and it's I just love writers rounds too. So whether it's performing with a full band or performing solo, I'm in.
Yeah, I know. Like with Nashville, like there's so many ways you can connect with a local artist, like the one that you just mentioned. So there's a lot of ways to connect with living in Nashville. Like it's literally the music city. So there's so much going on,
Yes.
and that you literally meet other artists literally anywhere in Nashville. That's because everyone's kind of crammed in just one place.
Yes, totally. There's so many artists here from all over the world, and it's just incredible to get to meet them and hear their music, and it's a really inspiring place.
It really is. And like, do you have a favorite part about living in Nashville? I know with every person it's different, like the music, the city, and everything, but do you have a specific thing that you love about Nashville?
Sure. I would say access to the most, talented producers, the most talented musicians, like to play on your albums, to play on your EP or your single, like to just be able to call up someone and say like, "Hey, would you want to play guitar on my record or would you want to play bass at my show?" And knowing that the caliber of musicians here is literally the best of the best. I think that access is really, really special and they cannot get that anywhere else.
You really can't. And literally, if you are a musician, like that place is literally where you should live. Just because there's so many artists from all around the world, and that like you literally get to collab with other people and meet other people that you literally would not meet if you probably say like maybe Cincinnati or somewhere. Nashville is honestly the way to
Yes.
go. And I never personally been, but I heard it's amazing to visit. Like, do you have like a favorite place that you like to show friends around or just go all the time?
Totally. So, of course, if you're in Nashville, you have to go to Broadway, which is very famous. There's so many honky tonks there. There's so many bands performing all day long. I also love taking friends to see a show at the Ryman Auditorium and or like the Grand Ole Opry. Those venues are, yeah, so historic. Definitely must sees. And then there's an area called 12th Avenue South, which has a lot of stores and you can walk around, which is really fun. So I like taking friends there. I actually have a list of my favorite like restaurants in Nashville that I'll send to friends and like I reference it all the time because there's so much good food here. And so I break it down. Happy to send it to you, Kylie. If I break it
Yeah,
down
that
like
would be
favorite
great. Like, I'm
breakfast
sure it's
places.
probably just a long list, but longer the better.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, there's so many possibilities on there. So I like to look at that list to kind of jog my memory on where to go. But yeah, and then East Nashville has a lot of really cool venues like the East Room and Cobra and oh my gosh, I'm like blanking. Oh, the Five Spot. Love the Five Spot. And then I live pretty close to Dee's Country Cocktail Lounge. I love that place. So, oh my gosh, there's really the possibilities are endless here.
Ooh, like such great recommendations. Now I feel like I should go to Nashville as soon as possible now just to see all that list now.
You
But
should. You
oh my
totally should. When you
God,
get the
like
chance,
hopefully by
when the
the end
time
of the
is right.
year. Hopefully by the end of
Yes,
the
when the
year we get
time
to
is right.
visit. But
That would
you
be
just
super
came out
cool.
with a new song called The Sun's on Your Side. Like, what motivated you to write this song?
Yeah. Oh, thanks for asking. So this song in particular was actually written in an unusual way because I connected with a music publisher here in town that works specifically in the film and TV world. So this music publisher wants to get songs in like movies and commercials and advertisements on TV. So essentially, they said to me, like, hey, Olivia, we're getting a lot of requests for like a song that's optimistic and hopeful. And it kind of starts off where you're like having a hard time, but you know things are going to get better. Like, will you try to write a song about that? Which was really fun. It was almost like getting a homework assignment and like trying to, write to the assignment. So I wrote The Sun's on Your Side by myself in my backyard, just with my guitar sitting in the grass. And then I went to Kyle Jefferson, who is an amazing producer here in town. And he helped me like really bring the song to life from as far as production goes and added the drums and added the bass and those types of things. And then I took it to Mark Abrams, and he's the one who mastered the track. And then the song was finished, I think in like January of this year, but I was kind of holding on to it. And I just felt like it was a great song to release in the month of August. It kind of just like matched with that month, especially with how sunny it is in August. So yeah, at the end of August, I released the song "The Sun's on Your Side," and it's now out on all streaming platforms.
Awesome. That is literally the perfect song for it. For the month of August. I listened to the song the other day and I loved it. You did
Oh,
literally such an amazing job on it. And with
thanks,
the way it
Kylie.
was written, like it was just perfectly written. And for the month of August, it literally
So
was the
kind.
perfect month to release it because, it's kind of like the last official probably month of summer, the sun,
Sure.
people enjoying it, and it's literally the perfect song for that, summer, like it just gives off all the summer vibes.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I try to be really intentional about when I release a song because, of course, if you have a song about like, winter or snowflakes, like you're probably going to want to release that in the winter. If you have a love song, like maybe you want to release it for Valentine's Day or, things like that. So I'm glad that you feel like I released the song at a good time.
Yeah,
Thank you for
it
the
always
validation.
depends on what is the right time to release probably a winter song because it's like, do I feel this is a winter song and why am I releasing this in August? It's always depends on the time of day
Exactly.
or what you write about.
So true. Yes.
Like for this track, like can you kind of walk us through kind of like your songwriting process for this track? I know you kind of mentioned a little bit before, but can you kind of just walk us through like the process of writing this song?
Yeah, of course. Well, I will say, so normally when I write a song, a lot of the times I'll write with somebody else and have like a co-writer. And so there'll be two people in the room and we'll both be like thinking about what the song should be about, what the song needs. But in this case, so I wrote the song by myself. And a lot of the times I'll have a title that actually like kind of starts the song off. For example, like my song Once in a Blue Moon, that I wrote with my friend Mike Astrachan. He was the one that came to the session saying like, I have this idea, like this is the title kind of thing. So that's kind of like my usual process is to start with a title that's kind of catchy and grabs your attention and then kind of go from there. But in this case, because I kind of had a vibe I was going for and kind of I knew I wanted it to be like a hopeful song because that was part of this assignment, right? Um, yeah, I just kind of started strumming on my guitar and kind of just like it was a beautiful day when I wrote the song. So sitting outside, I always get really inspired and I like to call my music nature folk pop. So I'm really inspired by the beauty of the world around us. So I started, playing my guitar and playing some chords. And then that first verse just kind of came to me. And the chorus kind of came to me all in like a 1 hour period of just sitting there for about an hour. And then I kind of had to pause because I think I had to like meet up with a friend or something. So the second verse wasn't written yet. But then I went on a road trip like a few days later to Louisville, Kentucky to go to a music festival with my family, which was really fun. I went to Bourbon and Beyond. And when I was driving, I like circled back to the voice memo that I had taken of that first verse and the chorus. And I kind of just continued to flesh the song out. And so I wrote the second verse and I wrote the bridge. And then well, I went to the festival, then got back to Nashville and made sure it all fit. And that was pretty much the process.
Not bad process. Like sitting out in the sun and just casually writing, like I feel like with the song about the sun, like you just casually just sit out in the sun and just casually all comes for you. Like that is literally like what the song is literally about. So it's like, you're finding inspiration from the sun and just casually sitting outside in Nashville, Kentucky, or whatever. Like the sun always gives you some sort of inspiration, whether it's for a sun song or weather song or what. This casually gives you kind of more a relaxed mindset when you're writing than rather than just sitting inside and not really doing anything and sitting in the exact same space.
Yes, like if it's a beautiful day out, even yesterday here in Nashville, it was so gorgeous. It's finally cooled down. It was in the 90s the whole summer pretty much, but right now I think it's in the 70s. And so I sat on my back porch and I have a day job and I work remotely, which is a great thing. And anyway, I was just like sitting outside and doing work on my computer. And yeah, anytime there's good weather, you can definitely find me outside.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like lately, like since it hit the
Mm.
fall, it's mostly in the 60s here in Pennsylvania. But once it
Oh,
is in the
sure.
70s or sunny, I'm just like, you can always find me outside sitting or just laying by the pool. That's where you most likely find
Right.
me nowadays.
I love that.
So the last question I had to ask you is like, what's next for you
Sure.
and your work?
Sure. So I am hoping slash planning on releasing another single before the end of the year. So I'm going into the studio actually Thursday and Friday this week. I'm really excited. I'm working with this really super, super great guy named Dan Niddle. He is fantastic. And yeah, we're going to be making some magic in the studio. And hopefully my new song will be out in November or December. And yeah, my next plan after that is to release either an EP or an album in the spring next year. It's always tricky because I have a lot of songs and I'm super excited to share them all, but it's expensive to go into the studio and each song costs like a lot of money to record. So it's just a matter of making sure that I have the funds to be able to release like an EP or an album in the spring, but I am working on it and I'm really excited to share more of my songs with the world.
Ooh, I'm so excited for this. Like, well, let me know when you plan on releasing all this. And if you're more welcome to come back on when it's all ready, if you wanted to.
Oh,
But
thanks, Kylie. So sweet.
I thank you so much for coming on the podcast. It was so great to finally chat with you. I've been dying to have you on the podcast, so it was really great to have you finally
Oh,
on. And I really
thank you
appreciate
so
you
much for
coming
having
on and
me.
taking the time. It was me so much, and I love chatting with you.
I love chatting with you too. Thank you so much for having me. It's been great to talk with you this morning, and I'm wishing you a wonderful and easeful rest of your week.
Same to you as well. And thank you everyone for listening. I hope everyone enjoyed this episode. Make sure to stay tuned to Olivia's social media for all of her updates on new music. Make sure to like, subscribe, and review. And